Chairs No Waiting, episode number 219. Don Knotts and Barbara Eden, part 1. Two Chairs No Waiting is brought to you each week by the fine folks over at Weaver's Department Store. Drop by over at Weaver's Department Store and pick up some of your favorite Mayberry items. They got all kinds of stuff over there. I know you're going to enjoy weaversdepartmentstore.com. Two Chairs No Waiting is also brought to you by donations from listeners just like you. The executive producer of Two Chairs No Waiting, number 219, is Tim Bradshaw. Tim, I want to thank you for helping support the show. And I want to thank all of you for showing up tonight. And thank you to the Mayberry Band for their wonderful rendition of Stars and Stripes Forever. Hello, everybody. I am Alan Newsom, your host for Two Chairs No Waiting, and I have got a special treat for you for the next couple of episodes of Two Chairs No Waiting. I was able to find an almost 20-year-old interview with Don Knotts and Barbara Eden. It's from April 1993. The interview aired on WBT in Charlotte, North Carolina. It's a radio station there. It was hosted by Henry Boggan and Mike Collins. Now, you're going to hear them talking throughout the episode tonight because they were doing the interview with Don and Barbara, who were on an 11-city nationwide tour for the play Last of the Red Hot Lovers. And that's what they were out there doing. So this is a long set of interviews. So, folks, I want to go ahead and get this thing started, and I hope you're going to enjoy Don Knotts and Barbara Eden.
Henry Boggan, Mike Collins, keeping you in touch on WBT.
Well, hi. What a gorgeous day.
Yeah. How are you, Michael?
I'm not so good. It was beautiful yesterday, and I thought we could welcome our two friends here into our beautiful weather. And
we're going to blame Don Knotts for this bad weather.
Yeah.
He brought it.
It's pretty lousy. Don Knotts is here with us. Barbara Eden is here with us. They're both in town to do Last of the Red Hot Lovers, which opens tonight at the new Performing Arts Center in the Belk Theater there, and they'll be there till Sunday. And we'll tell you how to get tickets to all that. But first, welcome to Charlotte. Welcome to WBT. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice to have both of you here. I felt so embarrassed. We get so many people through here throughout the years because of the TV station and radio. And I left the studio to get something a moment ago, and I was involuntarily whistling the theme to I Dream of Jeannie. I don't know where that came into my head.
Haunts you.
It just kind of does. This is really fun to have you both here.
Thank you.
You just came from Detroit, and you're on your way to Winston-Salem, and you're spending the week with us.
Yeah.
I hate to tell you the weather's going to be just like this till Saturday.
That's fine. I like it.
Do you really?
Yeah, Los Angeles, that's where we live, and it never rains there. Of course, we had a lot this year.
Right.
Normally, it doesn't.
You had too much this year with snow and rain, didn't you?
A little bit,
Yeah.
Oh, we bless the rain. We're happy to get it.
Because it's been a long dry spell, hasn't it? You almost had a drought there for
We
several
had a
years.
drought.
6 or 7 years.
7 years.
Yeah.
You know, it strikes me that the two of you are incredibly well-loved because of the characters that you brought to life on television and that we still see because you guys are, I hate to tell you this, you're in repeats all over the place. But, you know, they interrupt Nightline and delay it by half an hour over on Channel 9 to put Andy Griffith on at 11:30 every night.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So you guys are still, I mean, you are loved, and the crowd outside the window, we don't get crowds like this normally. So, do you draw this attention wherever you go, or is it just the South?
Well, we haven't gone out. We opened the show in Detroit
Okay.
last week.
Uh-huh.
And we were so busy there, I don't think we knew what we were doing.
That's true.
Now, you both have done a lot of theater before
yeah.
television, right?
Yeah.
How long do you rehearse a show like this?
2 weeks.
That's it?
2 weeks, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is that unusual, or is that
No, most
normal?
shows that have already been, isn't that true, Don?
Mm-hmm.
I think Broadway's 6, huh? 6 weeks?
I don't know what it is now. Back when I did it in the 1800s.
Come on.
It was only 3 weeks then.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Man.
Oh, gosh.
Because you were in No Time for Sergeants on Broadway.
Yeah. That was 1955,
Uh-huh.
and we rehearsed that 3 weeks. And of course, we got a chance to take it out on the road to some other theaters.
Talk to us about Last of the Red Hot Lovers. I know it's by Neil Simon. I've never seen this show. This is the one Neil Simon show that I have never
Yeah, what's the outline? What's the storyline? Can you tell us, either one of you, Barbara?
Hot dog.
Here we go. Here she likes this.
Well, I don't know. I think Don should tell you because he's done it a lot more than I have.
Well, go ahead.
He'll fill in what you leave out.
You're better at storylines.
He wants to make sure you know what show you're in.
Well, Don is the red hot lover.
Uh-huh.
That's right.
Red hot lover.
Well, we all
Typecasting.
realize that.
And he's a man who's never had an affair. And he's happily married, but he's decided he wants to have one last affair. He has a little crisis, identity crisis, I guess. Is that it? Or
Yeah.
midlife crisis?
Right.
So he borrows his mother's apartment and brings 3 different women up to the apartment at different times.
Uh-oh.
And I play 2 of those women. The tough cookie at the beginning and his wife's best friend at the end. It's kind
And
of
of course,
funny.
he's totally frustrated by the whole thing.
You know, Neil Simon, I guess, I said yesterday that he took a lot from television in the way he writes, but in fact, he gave a lot to television because he wrote, did he not, for your show of shows?
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Yes, he did.
So he
It's
kind
a
of created
marvelous
the
team.
genre, because when you see a Neil Simon play on the stage, you kind of think television comedy.
Mm-hmm.
Because it sounds like it has the rhythm of a TV comedy. Every couple of lines is a laugh line, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, but what he did was very smart. Back at that time when he started in television, all those great comedy writers were in New York writing television. Then when television moved to the West Coast, he elected to stay in New York and write for the theater. He's one of the few comedy writers who did, and it really paid off for him. And I think he's a marvelous playwright.
Have you met him, either one of you? Do you know Mr. Simon?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of is he funny in just in person drinking a cup of coffee, or is he like a lot of writers? That's his work. That's his craft.
I think mainly it's his work. At least when I was around him, I haven't been around him that much. One time, I have a funny little story about him at the Schubert Theater in Los Angeles. Once they had all the actors who had ever played The Odd Couple come to see Tony Randall and what's his name?
Jack Klugman?
Jack Klugman.
Klugman to do The Odd Couple there, and then all the guys who'd ever played it came to the theater, and we had
Wow.
a dinner party across the street after the show. And so I was in line there with all these well-known actors, and I was with Neil Simon. He was right in front of me. We were talking, and they kept saying, "Oh, so-and-so here, come right in, so-and-so." And then when Neil got up there, the lady said, "Who are you?"
No name tags, huh?
Right. He almost didn't get in.
In his own stuff. What plays were you in? I know a couple of he's been in. I know No Time for Sergeants. Which live plays were
Well,
you
I
in?
didn't do anything on Broadway.
Yeah.
I did regional and stock.
Mhm.
I've done a lot in the East. Just recently I did same time next year with
Oh,
Wayne
yeah.
Rogers.
Ooh.
That was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And before that, I've done a lot of musicals, like Woman of the Year. I toured with that.
Oh, really?
And, oh, golly, Unsinkable Molly, but you name it. Annie, get your gun.
What is your favorite part? What do you think, this is mine? I can do this with this what I want to. Is there one single role that?
I
that
think the
is for-
part that's dearest to me is Annie, Get Your Gun.
Yeah.
If you're talking about things I've done other than this particular one. I must say, this play is a hoot. I love doing this and working with Don, because we're kind of, we have a lot of fun batting the ball back and forth, you know.
Yeah, she's great. She's very
Do you
good.
ad-lib very much, or do you
Oh.
stick mostly to the script?
No, we don't ad-lib in that. Not in that.
bet you
No.
I bet you
Get your knuckles wrapped if you had lived
Yeah.
with Neil Simon, I'll tell you.
Barbara, have you ever played a villainess? Have you ever been a bad person in a movie?
No,
Or a play
actually,
or
I
a
played.
television show?
I was not a very nice lady on Dallas. I did 9
Oh,
episodes
yeah,
of Dallas,
yeah,
and I
yeah.
bought the company out
Right.
from under
I remember-
Larry. You know.
But everybody's sneaky
But
in
that's-
Dallas, wasn't it?
No, it was interesting because I was a big Dallas fan for so long, and there came a point in the show when the show really probably should have gone off, but they kept it going, and then they brought you on the show, and I started watching it.
Did you? Thank you.
Because I thought, I want
Thank
to see
you.
this woman, and you were terrific.
I was rotten.
It started though for a while being a parody of itself in a way, didn't it? Almost.
I don't know. I
Before you came on.
I don't know.
Have you ever played a villain, a bad guy?
Never have.
Would you like to?
No. I like what I'm
Good. Well,
doing.
you'd be a good villain though.
I did play a serious role on Search for Tomorrow for several years.
In the soap opera.
Yeah.
What were you there?
I was kind of a psychoneurotic
Not
guy.
typecasting, was it?
I hope not.
Playing against type.
Now, that was live television,
Oh, yeah.
wasn't it?
Yeah.
Any funny things happen on live television?
Well, once in a while, people would go up, and we didn't use teleprompters then, and you were on your own live. It was pretty tough.
Man.
You ever come in the wrong door or anything like that?
No, never did that. Sometimes you walk in front of a camera.
Yeah.
How do you do that? I mean, having been in a couple of plays, I mean, I know what happens. You rehearse the play, and then you get rid of the scripts, and then you find yourself on the set with the props. And the dialogue just goes away because now you have to deal with coffee cups. So how do you do that in live television where every day it's a new scene, it's a new script, it's a slightly different storyline? How do you keep it all in your head and then do it?
You know, I don't know. It was it was hard. That's all I know. One time I forgot. I didn't have a script. I was doing about 3 shows a day at that time. I was doing a radio show. I was doing a little local TV, and then we would rehearse from 8 o'clock in the morning until noon, and then we'd go on the air at 1.
Wow.
And I forgot my script one night, so I got in at 8 o'clock in the morning. I hadn't learned my lines, and I was pretty young then. I didn't want to tell the director, so I kept faking it in rehearsal and trying to learn it. And when we got on the set, I knew I didn't know, so I started putting my lines around on the. I had one in the posies and one, my shoe, and I had a line here and a line. That's the way I got.
Isn't that terrifying? I
Yeah.
mean,
Somebody
live.
told me that Marlon Brando did that. To this day, when he makes a movie, he has little cue cards stuck on the cameras,
Oh, does
people
he?
holding them,
Really?
and those long, pregnant pauses he does, and the meaningful pauses, he's looking for the script. Could that be true?
Could be. Yeah, I've seen people do that.
Yeah. Your friend Fanny Flagg, you were in Harper
Oh,
Valley PT.
yeah.
Now, if you ever talked to Fanny, why didn't you write a part for me in Fried Green Tomatoes?
When we were doing Harper Valley PTA, Fanny was writing that book.
Was she really?
Yeah.
At that time?
In fact, she just finished it, and she was polishing it, and she was telling me about it. Yeah.
Did you think, oh, nothing to this?
Well, no. I just, we all try and we all do things. I was just so pleased for her that it all turned out
Yeah.
so well.
And she's a very funny lady.
She is so funny and
I used
so
to buy I
talented.
used to buy her comedy albums. They were hysterical.
Or remember when she did the thing with the guy with the candid camera? She did
Yes.
that for a season or
Yes,
two.
she
It was
did.
marvelous. It was marvelous.
Yes,
Yeah.
she did.
Yeah.
Barbara Eden is here. Don Knotts is here. They're both in town to be part of, to be the stars of Last of the Red Hot Lovers, which opens tonight at the Performing Arts Center. And there are performances all this week with Saturday and Sunday matinees at 2 p.m. and Sunday evening at 7. By the way, the Friday and Saturday night performances are sold out, but the rest of the performances, there are seats available. And the number for tickets is 372-1000. That's 372-1000. Or you can call the box office for tickets. We're going to continue our conversation with Barbara and Don in just a minute. Don Knotts is here, and so is Barbara Eden, both in Last of the Red Hot Lovers. You are christening the Performing Arts Center in terms of drama, because yours is the first show to come in here that's not a dance production or the symphony. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Have you been in there yet?
Not yet. We're looking forward to
It is a spectacular theater. The acoustics are wonderful. It's a beautiful theater. They say the acoustics are like those in Carnegie Hall, so everybody will hear every word. Don't fluff a line.
better sing then, Don.
Pressure.
Better sing.
Pressure.
Are you both doing what you always wanted to do? Like, when you were children, did you always wanted to be an actor or an actress or be in films or be on... Well, there was no television, I suppose, for Don. I'm sorry, Don. But I mean, there was radio,
I always wanted to sing. I used to sing in the church choir, and my grandpa sang and my mother sang, and we. So then I got a scholarship at the conservatory in San Francisco, and it just sort of followed, everything. Well, of course, my mother was responsible for my studying acting.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, she said. I think I told Don this. She said, Barbara Jean, you have beautiful, clear, bell-like tones, but you don't mean a thing you're singing. You'd better take some acting lessons.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Now, have you made albums? Have you made albums?
I've done a couple, but
Were you not pleased with them?
No, well, that's all right. I did a country western album in Nashville when I was doing Jeannie. But I think I could do a lot better today.
Yeah.
Now, your parents, Don, your parents were were farmers, right? In West Virginia?
Yeah.
It's a long piece from the farm to the Steve Allen Show in New York and No Time for Sergeants in Hollywood. How did that take place for you?
Well, I think it was my mother. My mother had so much confidence in me for some reason. And a reporter asked me one time, he said, how did a guy from you from a little broken down home in West Virginia come out here and wind up being a movie star? And I said, very simple. My mother told me I could.
That's so true.
Yeah.
So true. You know that?
Reinforcement.
My mother
Yeah.
did that.
In other words, they didn't say, "Oh, you're out of you're crazy.
Right.
You'll never
No,
make it.
right.
You'll never make it." They just didn't say.
Well, my mother was a big movie and radio fan. As you said, there was no TV then. And she used to, when I was about 5 years old, I guess sound was just coming in. I hate to date myself, but she was a member of a church at that time that didn't believe in the movies. But she didn't agree with them. So she was very religious, but she didn't believe that. And she used to sneak me down the back alley to the movie house. She didn't want anybody seeing her.
You did radio drama, right?
Oh, yeah.
And obviously you've done a lot of television and film and stage. How would you compare radio, weekly radio or daily radio to daily and weekly television?
Well, for one thing, radio was a lot easier. Because they couldn't, you didn't have to get a makeup or wardrobe, and you could show up, you read your script, you read all your lines. So it's a matter of running the show 3 or 4 times, getting the timing, and then you go right on the air. And that was, I loved listening to radio theater. I loved it. I'm sorry that it disappeared.
You could use your own imagination.
Yes.
You could see the house in your own imagination. You could see the monster in your own imagination.
Absolutely.
I've had people who did radio dramas who said they did 4 or 5 a day.
Oh,
They'd
sure.
catch cabs and go from this one to that one. And-
yes.
Did you do that?
I didn't do it because I wasn't in that much demand. I had, I think, maybe a too distinctive voice, and I played an old Western character, an old timer, talking like this. Bobby, come in there, let me see you, boy.
Was that Bobby Benson and B. Barbie Ryder?
Right.
Really, was
Yeah.
it? I love that
How
show.
do you know
were on
this
that
stuff?
show?
Yeah.
Oh, I love Bobby Benson and the B. Barbie Ryder.
I thought you were only 35.
Well, that's right.
I'll be darned.
Yeah.
I love that show.
Yeah.
And you played the old timer?
Yeah. Wendy Wales.
Oh, Wendy was my favorite.
Yeah. You know who else was?
No.
Andy Griffith.
He was on that show?
No, he listened
Oh, yeah.
to it.
Yeah.
When I met him in No Time for Sergeants, and during a break rehearsal one day, I came out the stage door, and Andy was standing there whittling a piece of wood. You don't see that every day in New York.
Well, you do some places.
You see the knives, not the piece of wood.
Anyway, he said, "Can I ask you a question?" I said, "Sure." He says, "Are you Wendy Wales?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Pretty good little show."
Oh, great. That's great. When was the first time, can you remember when someone asked for your autograph? And can you remember it rather clearly?
No.
About the time period? That must have been a thrill, though.
Did it surprise you, or
When somebody says, "Can I have your autograph?"
Yes, it surprised me. But gosh, I can't remember for the life of me. It must have been, probably it was my first trip to New York when I did How to Marry a Millionaire. And I was about 19 years old.
You play the Marilyn role, did you
Yes,
not? Yeah.
how difficult? I'm sorry, finish your
Sure,
thought.
that's all right.
I was going to ask how difficult it is for the two of you because you are so well known and you look terrific. I mean, you look like you did when you did Jeannie. You look like Barney Fife. I mean, is it hard for you to get around in the real world without being stopped by 100 people every time you go to the grocery store to buy a carton of milk or whatever it may be?
People don't really bother you in Los Angeles at all.
No, not much.
They're very nice. I mean, they mention things. At least that's been my experience.
What do you mean they mention
movies.
Oh, yeah.
Well, they'll mention movies I've done or something they just saw or something like that. But I can't speak for Don, but I think this is true. Generally speaking, I think the people that like us are very nice people. I have never been really bothered, or had anyone that's horribly rude or.
But Barbara, I won't mention his name, but he's a very big actor. And he told me once, "I don't like that. All I owe my public is a good performance."
Well,
I don't like that attitude myself, but do you think that's a good attitude for a star to have?
I think it's an inconvenient one, and it's a shame because he's probably miserable. But I understand his point of
It's
view.
a double-edged sword.
You know?
I think you would want people to recognize you because
Of course.
it means you're successful. But on the other hand, if you're in a
course.
hurry, you want to do your business
But
and get on
people
with
are
it.
very nice. I mean, if you tell them you're in a hurry, you tell them you're eating. Don't you think so, Don?
Sure.
But do you notice though that if you're walking down the street or you're walking through a strange city where you're not in Los Angeles, where they're perhaps a little
Right.
more aloof because there's movie stars everywhere, that people maybe look at you 2 or 3 times do double takes, triple takes, or start talking about, hey, that's Don Knotts.
No, it's not. Yes, it is. No, it's not. I tell you it is. Have you had that?
I've had that, yeah.
And don't realize that you can hear them.
Have you had people say, are you Don Knotts? And you say yes, and they say, oh, no, you're not.
I had a fella, yeah, I've heard that.
That's funny.
I had a fella just recently, I was getting ready to go on an elevator, and he was just coming down the hall. He's going out into an office, and he yelled, he said, anybody ever tell you look like Don Knotts? I said, yeah, all the time. And as he opened the door to go out, he said, I bet you just wish you had his money, huh?
Oh, no kidding. No kidding. I got to ask you this because one of our news people said, ask him about my favorite movie,
Okay.
Mr. Limpet.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the one where you were the fish.
Yeah.
The cartoon fish in part of the movie.
Right.
Tell me how you got that role and what did you feel about it when they said part of the movie going to be just a voice in a cartoon. What'd you think?
Well, my agent sent me the script. I was doing the Andy Griffith Show at that time. Hadn't been doing it very long. And I had never starred in a movie before, and my agent kept saying, you must do this because it's your starring role, a set, you know. At first I turned it down only because I didn't like the script. But he asked me, he pleaded with me to read it again. I did. I finally began to imagine what it might be like. And it was not much fun to make, I must
It was
say.
not?
No, because most of it was voiceover.
You were doing radio in essence, weren't you?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And but I enjoyed it after I made it. I loved the picture. I loved the way it looked, and real glad I
And
did
people really love it because
Oh,
that's
yeah.
the one they talked about in Detroit. They
Really?
asked you all about
it.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
one where the mystery house, the haunted house.
Oh, that was The Ghost of Mr. Chicken.
Yeah, that was a good movie. That's a good movie.
Yeah,
Good
that was
movie.
fun. Thanks.
Yeah.
Don Knotts is here. Barbara Eden is here. They're in town to be in the last of the Red Hot Lovers at the Performing Arts Center. More of them in just a moment or two. And we'll open the phones, because look, they're already calling, and we haven't even told you can call. We'll open the phones and let you talk to them in the next half hour as well on WBT. Stay with us.
Hey, I hope you guys are enjoying that. That is awesome to hear. This is an interview from 1993, in case you forgot. And it was on WBT in Charlotte, North Carolina. So we're going to hear the second part of that next week. And I would love to hear from you. Did any of you guys go and see the last of the Red Hot Lovers? Or maybe you saw Don in one of his other plays. He did several. But I'd love to hear from you guys. So if you would, give me a call at 888-684-8415. And let us know what you thought about it when you went to see him in some of the other plays. He was on Golden Pond with Lee Merriweather, I believe, and he did several other plays like that. But if you saw this one with Barbara Eden and Don Knotts, that was really fun to see, and it was just fun hearing them talking about some of the things. Now next week, Don's going to talk a little bit about the Andy Griffith Show, and so does Barbara. Talks about when she was on the set of the Andy Griffith Show, and I believe she talks a little bit about I Dream of Jeannie as well, and being on Dallas and some of the other shows she was on. So I want to encourage you to come back next week. I'd love to hear from you if you'll call me at 888-684-8415. I'd love to hear from you. You can email me at floyd@imayberry.com. You can drop by over at twochairsnowaiting.com, leave a message right there, or drop by Facebook and leave a message on our Facebook page at facebook.com/2chairs. Folks, hope you have a great Mayberry week and enjoyed this interview, and you'll join me next week for part 2 of Don Knotts and Barbara Eden. Till then, you have a great Mayberry week, and we'll see y'all then on Two Chairs No Waiting. Bye, everybody.